Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch. The Utah sun crested the ridge of the Uinta Mountains, casting long golden beams across the dusty terrain of Blind Frog Ranch. Below, in the basin where secrets seemed to rise from the earth like steam, the team had begun another day of excavation. The July heat was relentless, but it didn't dull the excitement buzzing through the camp. This morning was different. 2 days prior, seismic scans had detected a dense anomaly near the base of the southern bluff. It wasn't metallic, but it wasn't natural either. The readings had suggested a large hollow, buried roughly 30 feet beneath a patch of brittle limestone, unremarkable from above, but geologically inconsistent with its surroundings. The crew's drill had punctured the upper layer just before sundown the night before. What followed was bizarre. The drill spun free, as if it had dropped into open space. Dust rose. A sulfurous odor followed, subtle but sharp. Cameras had been installed overnight. Now, as morning light filtered through the trees, they lowered a crawler drone into the void. Inside, the chamber was vast, larger than expected. Roughly oval, with walls covered in mineral sheen. But what caught Thekimura's eye was the formation at the center, a circular platform of smooth, unnaturally polished black rock. Rising from it, stacked in precise arrangement, were angular stones, glassy and dark, with sharp edges that defied erosion. The formation resembled a stepped pyramid, no more than 10 feet high and shaped like a miniature temple. At its peak sat a single jagged stone, almost obsidian, bearing intricate carvings. The glyphs were neither Native American nor Spanish. They spiraled inwards like an ancient sundial, faintly iridescent under the drone's lights. A series of flat slabs radiated from the base of the structure, almost like petals, each engraved with patterns. One showed a stylized eagle clutching lightning bolts. Another displayed a coiled serpent with eyes inset with turquoise. Within minutes, speculation ran rampant through the base camp. No one wanted to say it aloud, but everyone thought it. Aztec. The team descended the shaft using harnesses. Dust motes swirled in their headlamps as they entered the chamber. The air was still and strangely cool. The rock underfoot pulsed with heat signatures that didn't match the surrounding geology. Residual warmth, perhaps, or something older. Closer examination of the central formation revealed signs of fire damage, tearing on the edges of the topmost stones. Not fresh, ancient, as though rituals had once taken place here. Near the eastern wall, half buried in silt, a team member uncovered a stone mask. Its expression was blank, but its eyes were hollow, carved with razor precision. The style was unmistakable. Tezcatlipoca, the smoking mirror god. Not just an Aztec artifact, but one of religious importance. More discoveries followed. In the crevice of one slab lay jade beads, still strung on a thread that had somehow resisted decay. A tiny obsidian blade, no larger than a thumbnail, sat lodged in a crack, its edge still deadly sharp. Behind the pyramid, etched into the wall, was a series of pictographs. A journey, perhaps. A canoe, a mountain, a star. The question was impossible to ignore. What were Aztec relics doing beneath the Utah desert? Theories surfaced, some more plausible than others. One posited an ancient migration. Refugees from the collapsing Aztec Empire in the early 1500s, traveling north to escape the chaos of Spanish conquest. But how would they have reached this isolated basin? And why build such a monument in secret? Another theory, far stranger, connected the chamber to the legends of underground cities and hollow earth theories that had long surrounded the Uinta Basin. Some believed the Aztec items were not brought here, but preserved, protected by a civilization lost to time. And then there were the artifacts themselves. The glyphs on the central stone did not match any known Mesoamerican dialects. A linguistics consultant, brought in via satellite feed, noted structural similarities to Nahuatl, but insisted the characters followed a logic closer to a cipher. A code, perhaps, or a warning. Tensions grew. Later that afternoon, the team returned to the chamber to find the air noticeably cooler. The drone's internal thermometer had dropped by 6 degrees Fahrenheit. One of the headlamps flickered, then died. Static disrupted the walkie signals, only within the chamber. It was subtle, but enough to unsettle even the seasoned diggers. Near dusk, one crew member, searching the far wall, stepped through a hollow-sounding patch of floor. A concealed pit, quickly illuminated by drop lights, revealed a narrow tunnel sloping downward, the walls reinforced with wooden beams. Ancient lumber. Hand-cut. It extended into darkness. Inside the tunnel's mouth, more carvings adorned the rock. Skeletal figures, stars, and swirling wind motifs. One scene showed a figure holding a jaguar-headed being with flaming eyes. Beneath them, a depiction of what could only be described as a map. Mountains, a sun symbol, and what looked like concentric rings beneath the ground. They marked the tunnel and sealed it for further study. That night, infrared cameras caught strange activity near the dig site. Faint shapes moved beyond the tree line. Coyotes, most assumed. But their gait was wrong. Upright. Fluid. No sound was recorded, but tree limbs snapped at shoulder height. At 3:12 a.m., a soft hum resonated from the chamber. The vibration was felt in the trailer floorboards above. Instruments briefly spiked. Then silence. The next morning, 2 more artifacts were found just outside the main chamber. One a ceremonial headdress of woven gold filaments, the other a carved bone flute. Both pristine. Yet neither had been visible before. Had they been overlooked? Or placed? The crew, skeptical but seasoned, pressed on. In the following days, further excavation revealed something even more baffling. A circular stone door beneath the pyramid base, sealed with a type of volcanic resin. It bore 7 radial grooves, each embedded with faintly magnetic stone discs. One disc was missing. Without the final piece, the mechanism wouldn't budge. But the implications were staggering. This wasn't just a shrine or a burial. It was a vault. And whatever was inside had been protected with layers of deliberate engineering, stone, metal, myth, and mystery. Above ground, the ranch's surface revealed strange correlations. Ground-penetrating radar showed other anomalies in a rough spiral pattern around the chamber. Not quite natural. Like the layout of a buried city or a star map. A realization began to form. The relics weren't just Aztec. They were hybrid. Mesoamerican in style, but crafted with materials that didn't originate in Central America. Some stones were basalt, not native to Utah. The turquoise traced to a mine in New Mexico, long thought unconnected to Aztec trade routes. And the pyramid, it matched dimensions described in Codex Ixtloxochitl, an obscure 17th century manuscript written by a half-Aztec historian who claimed secret temples were built in the far north, where the stars burned bright and water fled from the ground. The episode ended with a wide aerial shot of the basin, dusk turning the terrain to copper. The crew gathered around the stone vault, the last light glinting off the strange black door. The missing disc lay unresolved. Tensions high. A pale dawn crept across the high desert of Utah, painting the jagged edges of Blind Frog Ranch with gold and ash. Dust settled on heavy boots and half-buried rock as the crew moved quietly through the morning haze. The strange readings from the ground-penetrating radar, discovered late the night before, pointed to a formation unlike anything they'd seen on the property. 30 feet below the South Plateau, tucked between fault lines and long-dead lava tubes, the instruments had shown a void. Its outline was unnaturally symmetrical, hexagonal, with a curious cluster of heat signatures at its core. Not metallic, not organic, something else. The dig began before the sun cleared the ridge. Using the bore rig, they penetrated the capstone layer, the limestone crumbling away like dry paper. Beneath it lay basalt, dense and vitrified from ancient geothermal events. Cracks spread through the surface until a corner collapsed inward, revealing a cavity. The opening was tight, but the drone fit easily. Inside, the chamber unfolded like a preserved world. Walls of blackened stone reflected the drone's LED lights, revealing a space roughly 30 feet wide, lined with rock that looked both natural and sculpted. At the center, rising from the ground like a spine from the earth's back, was a stepped rock formation, 7 tiers high, octagonal, and gleaming with obsidian. Along its base, angular stone blocks radiated outward like the spokes of a wheel, etched with symbols not seen in the region. Stylized serpents, eyes with jewel pupils, eagles with unfurled wings. Each symbol had been carved deep into the stone, then filled with some green-hued compound that shimmered faintly under the light.